Hi, welcome to this online training. I hope you really enjoy this technique as one of my favorite one. That's the porcelain effect. Have a preview of the designs which we will create today. I will show you exactly step by step with all the possible explanation of how to achieve this look. Definitely do not give up. Take your time, enjoy this training, and once you practice it and do your designs on the tips as well, drop me an email with your pictures to receive the certificate. So let's start. In this training, I will show you the porcelain flowers. So we are going to paint the background first. That's a 217, which is a flower garden. I really like this color for a nail bed color. All we have to do is just paint some reverse smile line. You don't have to be very precise because we are going to finish it off with some detail. So I'm just really indicating the space where we are going to have our smile line. Then put a small amount on the side so we can use the detailer brush just to go around it a little bit. Then once you're happy with the nail bed, let's cure it. On this tip, we are going to do it exactly the same. Obviously, if you would do it on the client, you would do your base color with the sculpting gel because that looks the nicest, and then you could move on into the next part. Okay, so that's another reverse smile line. Cook it in, and then the third one. I've cleaned the excess of the product from my brush, because if you've got sometimes too much product on your brush, it will be difficult to control the product and control the movement of the brush. So keep that in mind for like any future designs as well. And then once we have completed this part, we can move on into a part number 2. So we are going to use some gels, and I've got the art gels, so we are going to use some red. With the mixing spatula, we can place this red in there. We're also gonna need some white. So pick up some white and mix it with our red. So this way we have got a beautiful pink. If we add a drop of the blue into that, we are going to have a really nice purple. So just pick up some blue. And a drop more of the white. To create some purple. And depending on the shade you want, you just add more or less of a certain color. Clean my hands properly, and then we are going to move on into a next step. So we want some pink around our French. So I'm just picking up some pink. And again, I'm not really fussy about the smile line, because we are going to complete the smile line look at the end with some gold. Okay, so all I want is some pink in here. So I've got some pink in there, and then I want to also color the end of my nail in pink as well. So we leave some white space for a picture, and then the rest is going to be pink. Okay, so you can see it, it's kind of similar shape to the smile line, and then let's color that in. Okay, once you're happy, we can give it a cure. And then let's do similar designs on this one. So we are going to use this purple for a change. We have to clean the brush, and for brush cleansing we are using the UV cleanser because it's nice and delicate. So let's pick up the purple. And now I want the window to be on the side of my nail. So I'm just nicely painting the smile line. That's why, you know, now we wasn't as fussy about the perfect smile line on the first stage. And then just to make our life faster, we are going to use a larger brush to color all that in. And once you're happy, we can give it a cure as well. Okay, on the last tip we are going to use some different color. So let's do maybe red. Why not? So pick up some red. Okay, paint it like a smile line look, and clean the brush and color the rest. I quite like to use the color gels for doing the designs because they're really nicely highly pigmented. So color the entire end and then give it a cure. Okay, our next part is to paint some flowers inside. And we are going to use some one-stroke brush for it. And some acrylic paints. So on the purple one, we are going to use some purple paint. I'm squeezing out a small scoop of it. And then we want some magenta. And some white. Clean the brush. And that's a one-stroke level 2 brush, which I'm going to use for this first part. And we also needing a touch of the blue. So when we're painting with the acrylic paints, we need to paint on the matte surface, and we've got the matte surface on this part. Okay, so I'm putting lots of water in, and I'm just coloring a little bit of the blue background, just like a shadow. Very watery, so then it looks like almost like a wee sky. Let's do that on the other tips. So we are going to paint that here as well. And we've got some nice blue background. Don't make it even, make it like it is a sky. And same on this one. So again, lots of water in there, like lots. And then clean the brush. Okay, this one is nice and dry, so we can start painting the flowers. And I've got some white on the highest part of my brush and then some purple on the other part. Mix your paints. And we can start painting some flowers in this window, which we have created. So on the background, I'm having a wee small one. Go to the top, straight brush, and then come down. Leave a small gap, go to the top, and then calm down. Okay, we also want to do it one tiny petal on the side, so massage it in and then calm down. Clean the brush, and now we are going to paint similar ones on the bottom. So again, white, purple, mix it well. And then white touch the white. So that's a one petal, and then another tiny one which close everything up. Okay, so we've got like a half open flower. Clean your brush well. Make sure it's nice and flat. And pick up another scoop of the paint. The paint needs to feel kind of like a nice and creamy consistency. So if you feel it, the paint isn't having a right consistency, you can add a drop more of the water, but you cannot have too much water in there. Okay, so I have just mixed my paint well again, and now I can paint the bottom petals. So another flower going to the top, then come down. Clean the brush properly. And give it a clean mix. There we are. Okay, another petal. So leave some gap, go to the top, and then come down. Another petal on the side. Massage it well. I'm going to touch up the petal which is on the top. You cannot touch up the petals which aren't dry, so make sure the petal is completely dry, and then once it's dry you can touch it up. We have to also close this one as well, so where the petal is finishing, very straight brush, come down, pick up the fresh paint. One side of the brush, other side of the brush, mix it well. And then paint another petal to close the previous one. We can also add those couple of the smaller petals on the side and the one on here. So very straight brush and then just twist. We have painted two flowers there, but we also need to paint some leaves in here. So we are going to squeeze the green, drop of the green color, with some white. Mix it, and then let's paint some leaves. So the brush starts at the angle. Look how it starts, angle. Then blend it, go to the top, straight brush, change the angle, and then brush it. Okay, one more time. So to the top, you can also leave it the leaf like this. You don't have to go back the other way, but if you would do, you would touch it there, change the angle, and then just touch up on the side. Okay, we can also squeeze some leaves on this part. So I'm just painting the same, the green here. Fill your brush first, go to the top, and we've got a beautiful leaf. And another one. So touch it and go to the top. Let's add some detail into this flower. You don't want to do it too much. Get some detail brush. Make sure it's nice and clean, doesn't have any dry paint. Mine actually does, so I'm going to use a drop of the UV cleanser just to clean it up, all the dry paint which I've got in there. Once it's clean well, get it back into the shape. And now we can paint it. So inside I want to add this purple, very watery brush. For the detail we always work with lots of water in there. So get this purple, color that in. So that also gives the definition to the petals which are on the bottom. And same in here, color that in. Wait for it to dry, and then we can swap to the white. So pick up lots of water. Look how I'm preparing my brush on the side. So lots of water in, and the brush has to be really nice and thin. You kind of almost roll the brush to add the detail into the flowers. Outline it a little bit. You don't want to outline too strong. Just a wee tiny bit. Kind of like show off some of the petals. Same in here. Just really make them stronger. Those porcelain flowers looks absolutely amazing, and if you're doing this training, I'm sure you will really enjoy it, and your clients will love these designs too, because they look absolutely fantastic. They look much more complicated, I think, than they are. And then add some detail inside the leaf. So a wee small detail there. Vein inside the leaves. Look, I have hardly any product on my brush and lots of water in. This is really important if you want to paint a very fine detail, that you do have tiny bit of the product on your brush only. Okay. And then inside those flowers we are going to do a couple of the tiny wee dots. Okay, so a couple of the dots. Inside this flower. Let's paint another type of the flower. So here I'm going to squeeze out the red. So I've got some red, and I'm going to squeeze out the white. I want fresh white, just so the things looks really nice, and we will paint some rose. So bear with me and look how we are creating some beautiful rose. So first of all, we want to have some red background, and I suggest you take a small amount of this red paint and you just do some red background there. Okay, so this is where the one rose is going to be, and then the other one is going to be there. So paint just like a cycle. Clean the brush, leave this paint to dry on the side, and let's maybe top coat this tip, so later on we can move on into the next step. It is really important that you top coat it, because in case if you do some mistake, you can always easy fix it, because this part of the design is protected with the top coat. Okay, so this is a very important tip for you guys. This part of the design is protected, so even if something goes wrong, you can just go back and fix it, because this part is finished. Okay, so I'm just top coating it well and then give it a cure. Just remove the particle of the dust. Clean my top coat so I don't get any more dust. And let's paint those roses. So I want some water in my brush. Then dry it out a little bit. Make sure the brush is nice and flat. And let's paint this rose. White on the higher point, red on the lower point. And now I want to be very precise with my color mixings. Like, I want to take a time, because all the success is about the color mixing. Guys, if this was a first training you have signed up, I do really suggest you watch One Stroke Level 1, where we paint much easier flowers and I teach you the technique. So the brush doesn't almost touch the nail, and we are painting like a U shape in there. And then on the top, and just twist it there. Okay, so this is the middle of the rose. They are a little bit more advanced roses, but they always looks absolutely stunning. That's why we was needing those red inside, so the white could stand out. Again, U-shape-ish, and the same one from the top. For those type of precise flowers, you want your brush ready all the time, all the single time. You want to have nice amount of the paint, nice consistency, because you really don't have a room for a mistake. So do not rush picking up the paint step. It's really important. Sometimes even if you have to like wipe it off and start again to pick up the paint, that's okay. Otherwise it wouldn't work. Okay, the next petal is going to be the same way. So the white goes around it. Now I'm almost painting with the tip of the brush. Same in here. My brush is at the angle because I don't want to paint too large petal. And that's another petal done. Once we have completed those 3 petals which are going inside, we can start painting outside petals. Okay. So for outside petals, we will go opposite. So our red is going to be in the middle, and then the white is going to go outside. Pick up the paint. I'm not happy with this pickup of the paint. So let me clean my brush. Ideally, guys, I don't have them actually with me. I've got some baby wipes, but they are too moisturized and I can feel them. Usually I like those cheap brands. This is a good tip for you. So these wipes are very moisturized. You can almost even see the moist, and they are kind of slidey and slimy. Don't use those type of brushes, those type of wipes for cleaning it. Ideally, the cheap kind of brushes are best. Cheap wipes are best for cleaning your brush, because they don't leave any slidey residue. I don't like to dry out my brush on a dry brush. I don't like to dry out my brush on a dry wipe, because it removes too much water. Okay, so the baby wipe is perfect. Gosh, hope that makes sense. Okay, so white, red, mix it well. And then we are going to paint the petals outside. So red touch red, okay? Red touch red. And let's paint those petals outside. Here I don't want the petals to be strongly visible because we are going to paint some design there. So just a wee tiny ones, and the rest of the design is missing. You want them to be kind of nice and decent. Leave the gap and another petal in there. Okay. Really large petal. And same in here. So one rose has to be on top of the other. And let's assume this one is smaller, so it's underneath. So don't touch the petal, which is the large one. Leave the gap. Paint another petal. The ones which are hardly visible on the top. And then we've got some space for a large petal here. Okay, so we have painted the outside petals. If you want your one stroke to look even nicer, we can go with it and pick up another row of the paint, a bit water, and then mix it well. Actually, I need some fresh mixing palette. So another thing I like to use sometimes if my mixing palette is too busy is the back of the forms. I don't bin them. I use them for mixing the things and the paints. Like more water and now I'm just going to go over it to perfect the shape. Clean the brush and then we can do inside the roses. So white, red, mix it well. Now we have to be extremely precise. So you can see it how clean mix I've got on my brush. So on the petals which are outside, I want them to be kind of more smudgy, but this ones I want them to be nice and sharp. Kind of straight brush because the petals needs to be very small. Mix it again. Another petal here, so starting straight. Another one in there. So in each empty space we are squeezing like a wee tiny petal. Clean the brush and pick up a fresh paint. I'm just going to squeeze out another scoop of the paints so they're nice and fresh because we have no room for a mistake at this part. Drop of water and dry out the brush, white, red, and then let's paint it. Okay, so straight brush, and you're just doing petals inside. Pick up another one. And we have to squeeze one more petal. So very straight brush, and I'm painting with the straight brush like this. We can do one more in there. And I want to show you this movement again. So you pick up the paint, straight brush, and this is the movement you're doing. I would suggest you kind of practice it, and this way you get the nicer petals, especially the ones for inside the rose. Let's do a small batch. So mix the paint again and just go to the top with the small batch. We are going to paint some leaves, so dry out the brush, pick up some white and the green. Mix it well, and the leaves for the roses we are going to do a couple of the very tiny wee ones. So just touch with the brush, go to the top, touch, touch. And the one on the side, take a detail brush, green, go around the rosebud, and then white to add the detail into the rose, because that's the detail always brings everything to life. So I have just cleaned my brush and then picking up the white. For painting the detail, lots of water in. Roll your brush. And now we are going to outline some places. If you would mix your paint to not enough, like too separate, the white wouldn't be visible, because you would have like a pure white and pure red. That's why I love to mix my paint stronger, so the colors aren't as separate. Because then later on when I outline, my white is really white, and the particles which we had in here, they are pink and red, not white and red. Okay, that's why I like to paint it this way. And now when I add white, they stand out, they look much nicer, more realistic. So that's another very important lesson, guys, when you're mixing your colors. Let me swap this brush, because I've got some dry paint in their stock, which I cannot... No, I don't want to damage my... Oh! I should be cleaning with the very hot water, like this is very damaging for the brush. But I had some stock paint, which was stopping me from painting really nice with this brush. There is still tiny bit of the paint stock in this part. No, I'm just going to clean my brush. So this brush have been used with gel, and I have to really well clean it from the gel. It is possible to use the brushes with the gel and the brushes for the acrylic paints. That's absolutely fine, but we need to clean it well from one product to another. So UV cleanser to remove the gel, then I need to load some paint into my brush, get the brush, soak the paint and clean this paint, because there might be some gel residue, and then there we are, that's my brush ready for a painting. Let's water this one so it doesn't dry out. Make sure if you swap brushes, they've got plenty of water so they don't dry. with such a small picture, I have not much room for the mistakes, so it is really important to have the brush properly ready. Okay, we also want to create some invisible petals. What I mean by that, we had some petal here, and I'm going to prolong this petal to create invisible petal which didn't exist before. Okay, make it longer and look how much nicer it is. I've got mainly the paint on the tip of my brush. I don't want the paint on the other part of my brush, only on the tip. Okay, we want to prolong this petal. This one, a twist this way, and then it comes here. You can see it how much nicer the rose becomes by adding this detail. There is petal here, and then the one outside. Let's do this one. So can you see it, the difference in between those two roses? And the detail, we need to prolong this one. Nice petal there, make it longer, so we've got an extra one. Nice petal here on the top, can you see this white? Make it longer. And then the outside petals. So we've got one petal there, another petal there, and that's plenty. Vein inside the leaves. Look, no product on my brush, like no product on my brush. I'm just basically adding the water into it. And this is just gives me a perfect amount of the paint. Highlight the rose inside, the tiny wee bud, inside the vein, inside the vein. Okay, and this one is ready as well, so we can apply the top coat over it. Let's maybe do one more petal there. Maybe. And then we can apply the top coat over the entire design. So top coat it well. And give that cure. And on this one we are going to paint the last flowers. So let's what we're gonna paint here. Clean the brush really well. And we will paint some orchids. And pink. So I've got also a drop of the magenta color in there, and that's what I want to use. So I want magenta on the top of my brush and then pink on the bottom. Mix that well. and paint the inside. Go to the top, a bit pointy, then come down. And this way we've got the first petal. On the bottom we want the same, so same colors. Mix it well. And we want one petal here, just round it this time, and one petal there. Wait for it to dry, and to save the time, paint another one in here. So go to the top, come down, and then one in here, and one in there, which is hardly visible. Clean the brush. Now for the rounded petals, which are large, I prefer to use the one stroke level 1 brush, because it's bigger and it's just quicker. I have used it for the color gel application, so I have to clean it properly. Any gel residue which might be on it, because otherwise it will make your painting much more difficult. In general, it's best to have two separated brushes. I will be honest with you guys, like it is possible to use it, but you need to kind of work out the brush. You need to swap it from one product to another product, and that can take sometimes a long time. I can see it how this brush behaves now. Because it is so soaked into the gel, it's going to be more difficult to paint, but absolutely fine to do so as well. So for those of you who've got only one set of the brushes, see, like the paints even doesn't mix well, and that's what happened with my the master brush as well, the tiny one. It wasn't soaked in properly with the acrylic paint, so it was more difficult, but that should be okay now. See, that's a difference in between the first mix and the second mix. So always keep that in mind if you're swapping the brushes. Okay, so we are going to paint it rounded shape now. So the petal is starting halfway through the top petal, and then you just make it a circle shape, rounded shape, all the way down. And do exactly the same on the other side. So start halfway through. Do it slowly so you don't make any mistake. And this way we've got the orchid. Pick up a fresh paint again. Mix the colors. I have added a drop of the water because I can start feeling the paint as kind of getting a drier. And then paint exactly the same in here. So start with the half. Make it nice and rounded shape. Nice and rounded shape. Okay, so we've got some beautiful orchid. The orchid is going to be on the stem, which is green. So lots of water on my brush. And a green stream. Using a detailer brush, we are going to do some small bats of the pink, of the purple and white. They are just in here on the top. Just like a wee tiny ones. And then we have to paint the middle of the orchid. So using the small one stroke brush, we will add some yellow. So yellow drop. And then some red we've got. So red and yellow at the end, mix it so you've got nice orange, and then white. Okay, once we've got the paint mixed and you're happy with it, we are going to add some middle. Work with the tip of your brush, like just a tip of the brush. That's why I love the Demaster, the one stroke level 2 brush, because it can be, see, so precise. And then on the bottom, again, just with the very tip of your brush, tiny touches. Same in here, tip of the brush, tip of the brush, and on the bottom. And then once we're happy with it, we can add some white detail. So going back into the white, like very watery, we are going to highlight some of these places. We can also draw a couple of the wee lines. Don't make them too strong, like really, really tiny. Sometimes those small details make a huge difference, but you really don't want to make them big. If you make it too big, it looks a bit fake. And then using black, we are going to add a couple of the dots. So squeeze out some black. And then the tiny wee dots inside the orchid. Again, you don't want them to be big. They're supposed to be almost invisible, but they make the detail. So almost invisible. If you would make them too big, it wouldn't look nice. And white and yellow. We add some detail into the middle, like a wee nose. And now we can top coat it as well and move into the last part of this beautiful designs. So apply the top coat and then give it a cure. The other tips are cured, so I'm going to straight away move into the next part. Clean the mess, because if you've got too much mess on your desk, it's not easy to work and do the designs. So we are just putting everything on the side, pick up our first tip, and then use the buffer. So I suggest for this part you use some more secure things. So I'm going to work on my brush. I've got blue tack there. On the client it's much easier, but I'm going to secure it really well on the brush and then buff it properly. So you want to buff everything nice and smooth. Actually, even do it this way, so it's nice and smooth. And the reason why I wanted you to top coat it is, first of all, the next part is much easier to paint on the matte surface, and you don't want the foil to stick into any other places. So that's why we've got those tip buffed nicely. I'm going to grab a drop more of the blue tack so I can secure it really well, because I don't want it to move during the foil application. Okay, so this is really important. We don't want to move it. So it's going to be nicely secure. That's really secure. It's not going to move it for me. Clean the dust and let's paint it. So I've got some other mixing palette in here and I'm going to use the Gel Art Black Foil. Clean the brush, which I have used before, but because we have used it in acrylic paints, I need to clean it really well. So UV cleanser, clean it really well, pick up the product which we are going to use and let your brush to absorb it and then clean it off, just so you've got definitely only this product on your brush, and then let's paint it. Okay, so we are going to paint the smile line. So my hands start to shake a little bit. Escalate the air to stop that shake. See, we all get bad days. I'm just going to perfect it. And then we can add the detail around this part. You really take your time when painting this design, and then we'll add a couple of the swirly bits in there. Believe or not, this is the easiest part. We are going to move on into harder once we finish this painting. Take your time. And then much bigger. You can see it, I'm painting the spheres in a couple separate parts and then I'm joining them in. So don't force yourself to paint it in a one go like this, because it's much more difficult. It's better to lift your hand up and just add more detail. Join them in. And join them in. Okay, so this way we have painted some swirly parts, almost like a wee lace. Now we have to cure it. So it's a slow setting curing, like make sure your tip doesn't twist. So I'm going to take a blue tack and I'm going to protect it from the one side so it doesn't roll and doesn't damage my design. So cure it there, and I want to cure it for 60 seconds in a slow curing motion. Okay, then also above this one, watch the time to don't over cure it, and because that will cause the issues with the foil to stick into it. So I have buffed another tip. My tip is curing. Okay, and let's prepare the foil. So we are going to use some gold transfer foil. Is it this one? No, maybe this one. Oh gosh, no, this one. So when you use the transfer foil, make sure you've got the one which comes off very easy. If it does comes off easy, it's going to cure nice and stick into the product nice as well. I'm going to choose, let me check. Got two. Quite like this one. Gosh, they're both easy. Okay, let's try this one. You can clean it, the back of it, with some blue scrap. And then let's stick it into our design. So I suggest you pick up one place first, and I'm going to do it this side first because you've got only one go for it. In between the fingers, place it there, hold on, because the design is kind of 3D. We have painted with the gel, so hold on, and then lift it off. So you've got a beautiful coverage. Then cover another part. You have to cover the entire part you have covered. Lift it off. And then the last part on the top and here, hold it, lift it off. Okay, so this way we've got amazing coverage. And this tip is done. Look how beautiful it is, guys. Absolutely amazing. Okay, I'm going to peel it off. Don't touch the foil. You don't want to touch it with your fingers. And then apply the top coat over the entire design. So the top coat is going to protect the transfer foil from coming off. This porcelain look is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorites because it's combined two of the best techniques, which is a transfer foil and a one stroke. Okay, I've got another tip ready. And that was actually a nice sheet of gold we have picked up. The transfer foils are available in our store as well. Okay, so let's do another one. Clean my brush and let's paint it. So we paint the smile line. Again, now you know why we didn't waste the time before. Escalate there. You can see it, guys. Everyone got some difficulties. But it's a matter of practicing. Guys, same with the gold transfer. Do not give up. It's a matter of practice. That's why you are doing this training. Like, very important, you apply the product nice and even, the same thickness, because it is all about the curing time. So if in one place you will have the product too thick, it would cure different time than the product where you've got thinner. Do not rush. Nice things aren't rushed. Okay, we are going to just leave it the way it is. I quite like it this way. So again, secure it so it doesn't roll. And slow setting skewering on this one as well. And then we've got another one. So on this one we'll paint something different. Let me grab this and a tiny bit of the blue tack. To secure it well, and then let's paint it. I suggest you kind of start from the middle, one side, and then other side. Now I don't want my gel to cool down, so I quickly need to leave this tip alone. So we'll leave this tip alone and then apply the transfer foil on this one. Okay, if you let it cool down too much, you wouldn't have enough inhibition layer to make it stick in. So let's start one side first. Don't touch the transfer foil. Pull it out. Other side. Pull it out. And the one on the bottom. Hold it, hold it. If you hold it longer, you kind of heating it up and you get even nicer results. Like I find it is easier to transfer the foil if you kind of hold it a little bit longer on it. So let's apply the top coat over it, or even keep it on the side. We can apply it in a minute after we cure this one. So here I want to paint maybe some leaf or something. Let's make it more complicated. Since we've got roses there, we can paint some leaves in here. And then some swirly parts. Okay, so we've got some leaves. Give it a cure, so slow settings. Please play with your curing times. Like guys, try so first of all, do your transfer foil and cure it, the foil for cure it for like 30 seconds in normal LED light. See what's happened. If it doesn't work, then change for a slow curing, and then in slow curing I usually cure 60 seconds and like try different timings until you get the perfect coverage. Okay, it is all about the curing time, and each of us works with different thickness. Each of us got different lamp, so for everyone the curing time will be different. I'm curing 60 seconds and slow curing like a low heat mode lamp. And then I'm not going to risk it and use it. This part is fine for random designs, but because we want to be so precise, I'm just cutting a fresh piece of transfer foil. Some transfer foils don't transfer well as well, and this is really important. Like, so always make sure you scratch it on the back, and if you see it comes off nice and easy, that's mean you've got a good quality product, which is going to be easy to work with. This tip is also ready, so I can put it on my display case. So there we are. We've got one tip ready on our display case, Absolutely stunning combination of the porcelain effect flowers. Okay, this one is cooked, so I can just remove it, start from the top, hold it, peel off, see, beautiful, nice and clean coverage, pick up a fresh bit, hold it. I'm not even going near the bottom part yet. I want to do it one at a time. Okay, turn it. Now we are going to go into this place here. So place it, hold it, lift it off, secure the tip, and now we are going to go into the parts where we've got some leaves. So pick up the fresh particle, hold it there, hold it, and you have to kind of like almost iron it in, so gently without of moving. I'm kind of moving my, without of lifting it off, I'm moving my finger to heat it up and to get in every single place, because it's not flat, the gel is not flat. And then I can lift it off, so it got into the sides as well, so it's not only on the top but also on the sides as well. Okay, then this side, hold it, heat up the product, pull it off, hold it, do not, oh, that slides, hold it, lift it off. So that is very important that we secure the tip properly so it doesn't move, doesn't slide, because that could affect the results. Obviously, on doing it on the client, definitely guys, is so much easier than doing on the tips, because the client finger doesn't move, so it's just so easy to work it on the actual hands. And then apply the top coat over it. And also when we apply the top coat, like, look how beautiful the one stroke becomes, much more pigmented, absolutely amazing, and the colors are popping off. I love this one actually. It does really looks like a porcelain plate. I also suggest you check some pictures with the porcelain. Like, so you can just Google out like Chinese porcelain, and this way you will get lots of nice ideas of the designs which you could recreate as well. So let me show you another one in here. Okay, so we've got this one. We'll have to place the red one in the middle, so let's maybe do it this way. This one here, this one there, and then a couple seconds longer so I can show you the red one. And then remember, if you have completed this training, you have done your work as well, drop me a picture on our email ibiza@hotmail.co.uk, and I will be very happy to issue you well-deserved certificate for completing this awesome training. You can also hashtag us on Instagram and other social medias, and I will be very happy to see your recreation as well. So yeah, I hope you have really enjoyed this training. Sending you glittery hugs, and bye for now.